Greetings, everybody. We have returned once again. This evening, we are going to be getting into a review of the production version of the Gareth Bull ShamWEri, or ShamWEri as it has been dubbed. Then later on, we are going to be looking at the Civivi and the Wii new 2021 offerings.
It's a Wii train. It's a Wii train.
It's a Wii.
By that I mean it's a very small train. There's a small train.
Also, hey Ben, Justin, Jared. So,
greetings, fellas.
And a big thank you to Jared, especially.
Indeed.
He is the reason why we were able to review this particular knife tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
we'll review it.
ShamWEri was lent to us by Jared, so we thank you muchly for that, brother.
Who's going first this week?
There
we go. What are we carrying? Yeah.
Super freaky mini.
Yeah. Super freaky.
It's cute.
Okay.
He's cute.
I see.
And super.
I had a titanium train. I was carrying the Sleesh Bowie today.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice. It's a good looking knife.
It was all titanium all weekend long.
Very nice.
All titanium all weekend long.
Sabenza today.
All titanium? Was it all weekend long, Joe?
No, it was like a third of the weekend.
All titanium, a third of the weekend.
Chris Reeve is retired, man. You got to give him like 2/3 recovery time.
And I'm carrying an all titanium ZT 450.
Was it all weekend?
Sure, let's pretend.
I'm not going to do it again.
Everybody gets one, except Paul.
Yep.
It was worth the almost spit take.
Also, Mr. Fisk, John, what's up?
Evening.
Hello.
So yeah, before we get into it, going to remind everyone to like and subscribe, or else you will be cursed to always lose the cover off of whatever remote for any electronics. Even if it's like a mouse battery cover, a keyboard battery cover, any TV remote zappers.
That would
Jesus Christ, I liked it. Okay? It's done. I did it.
That would particularly suck in my
I've
case.
already lost my DVD remote back.
Of course you have.
I beat you to it.
See,
unless you're talking the duct tape that holds it in now, or electrician's tape.
Look at my mouse. Do you know how badly that would suck? Just lose the entire top part of your mouse.
Yeah.
I don't like this curse.
Dude. Like, come on.
Like and subscribe, Joe.
There's an easy solution here. Like,
Indeed there is.
You know what's even easier?
Shall we get into it?
Yes.
Indeed.
Who's on first?
All right, 10 sixes. Let's see what you got.
10 sixes?
That's
the joke that I made.
It was actually the backwards of the joke you made, but
it was.
That's what I said.
It was.
It's the opposite.
Oh. Never mind that.
Carry on.
So I didn't give it 6 10s, but I definitely gave it 3 10s.
I gave it a 10. A 10. A fucking 10.
I gave it an 88 overall, which is an A.
Yeah.
Big boys coming out to play on the 88s.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
On the material side of things, I gave it an 8. It's in line with other knives in the past, like my Spyderco Swayback, titanium body, nice blade steel. Cost versus fit and finish, I gave it a 10. I looked back at the only other Wii knife that we've ever reviewed, which was the Pleroma, which got a 9 for fit and finish, and I think that was specifically because the first one that you got didn't lock up properly. I would have given it a 10 otherwise. I can't find anything wrong with the ShamWEri to complain about. All of the joints are really tight fit. There's not a sharp edge on it. I like it. Cutting ability, it cuts pretty good. It's pretty thin behind the edge. It's not the sharpest thing I've ever handled in my life, but it definitely has potential to cut pretty nicely. It's similar blade profile to like a Sebenza overall. Ergonomic execution, it's hard to go wrong other than the fact that it's a little short. I can imagine that people like Nigel out there are going to have a bit of trouble potentially getting all 4 fingers on it.
You got to keep in mind as well that this is the mini version of the 2 Shams that are out there, right? The Wii production one, they chose to go with the smaller one. So again, we're grading this on a mini Griptilian kind of scale, right? So.
Lockup and actuation gave it a 10 because that thing fires awesome. It likes to drop shut. I have scars all over my thumbs from dropping knives shut. That's my jam, and that knife does it. On the personal side of things, titanium and 20 CV, there's probably not something you can put in front of me that I like more than that. Aesthetically, it looks like a lot of knives in my collection already because titanium and a drop point blade. I'm a simple man. I like simple things. Pocket ergos, it disappears in the pocket pretty well. It's pretty narrow. It's not any wider than the 450 really in overall width. But it does have a milled clip, which is good for a milled clip, I will say for sure. But it definitely is not as good as some other clips out there, like we've talked about in the past. Ergonomic preference, hard choice as to what I would like better than that. There are a few things out there. It's a single finger twirl and a very neutral handle. I have spoken ad nauseum about that in the past. And then enthusiasm, I like this thing a lot, as you can tell by my review. So there.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I can't really find any points I'd argue.
You didn't give it one single 6, Paul.
That was such a misleading intro.
And whose fault was that? I mean, really?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come on, Paul, get on the ball. On the ball.
Damn, Paul. Here, let me save this. I'll go next. So I actually ended up liking this a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Holy you guys! 87, you say?
So I gave it an 87, an A-. The main point where I deviate away from Paul's logic here, actually, for me, is cost versus materials. I think it's perfectly acceptable for the original list price of roughly 350 Canadian dollars, or I think it was 275 American was the original list price, from what I could find. Assuming that is correct, I don't know. I would have liked to have seen some inlay work. I would have liked to have seen something a little bit different than just plain titanium. But then again, the Sleesh buoy exists. So
I'm going to throw out the fact that it's contoured. It's not flat.
It is.
So it kind of compensates the inlay versus contoured. That balances out to me.
Fair enough.
I'll also throw out the Wii standard and fit and finish. That is actually quite a bit cheaper.
Well, the fit and finish, I gave it a 9.
Yeah. But for everything else that Wii produces as well. So whether you're talking about Benchmade as a butterfly tax, or whether you're talking about Wii knives and the platform that they can sell knives at, 275 American's not the worst, but 7 is an understandable score because it's steep.
It is. And yeah, cost and finish 9. There's nothing really immediately wrong with any of it. Cutting ability, I gave an 8 because that hollow grind is very nice. It's going to perform just as well as my smock will. Things with that similar kind of curvature, although it's going to hold an edge a lot longer. Ergonomic execution, I actually gave this thing a 9. And for ergonomic preference, I'm just skipping to my preference there, but I gave it a 10. This thing is, of all the knives in that size category I've held, as far back as I could remember, that is probably the most comfortable in that size. I was shocked at how comfortable that clip was, and I took some pictures of the milling on it, and I'll show those off in a minute. But lockup and actuation, it's a 9. I don't really know what you could do to make it better other than if you try to front flip it like this, it's not super comfortable, but doing it like this with your thumb, probably the way you're supposed to, it feels fine. It feels good. Material choice, it's 20.
What do you think
titanium.
this is? A top flipper? Because that's a thing that we didn't talk about 2 years ago. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, fairly. Aesthetics, gave it an 8. It's kind of pill-shaped. It's cute. I really like it. Pocket Ergos gave it a 9. The tension on that milled clip is really, really nice, and it grips fairly well. Doesn't want to shift around. I was worried about the clip tension either being too much or not enough, and it seems to be right in the sweet spot. My enthusiasm's a 9. If this knife was more widely available, I would probably own one. Again, for the size range, I can't think of anything else as comfortable, and those materials are absolutely 100% good to go. Yeah.
I'm glad that you mentioned if you can get a hold of it. We just had John asking in chat here about whether or not it's going to be available to Canadian masses.
Nope.
It's not really available to much of anybody right now. They made a run. They're probably going to do more runs, hopefully, but
I was just gonna,
they're usually small production batches, and they get snagged up very quickly.
Yeah.
Think like GEC launch.
So they had on Knife News, there was an article saying that they were considering coming out with a 3.5 size, depending if this one sold well enough. I'm assuming this has, because the availability seems to be
they crashed the website 3 times.
Yeah. So as far as I'm aware, Gareth Bull still
it sold okay.
So for those unaware, as of this recording, Gareth Bull does not have his own website, at least not publicly available. He has a Facebook page, and that's about the only way to contact him outside of Instagram.
I think the main thing is that it crashed 3 times. He's probably making a new website trying to be able to handle what he has in front of him right now. So
more than likely.
I was going to say, did it crash his Facebook page?
No, just
Facebook crash?
He had a website.
Oh, okay.
And then
now I'm up to speed.
Yeah. Just very quickly before we jump on to the next review here, I wanted to show off the milling on that clip. Like, that chamfer follows the edge of the clip all the way along, and it's super cool. It's super comfy too. There's I've complained before about this clip here having too sharp of an upsweep. It pokes me ever so often, but this clip, not even forcibly rubbing my hand across it, trying to feel for a hot spot, just walking. No, it's
forcibly rubbing.
Forcibly rubbing. Don't think about that too much.
That sounds about right coming from Joe. So,
Hey, there's nothing forcible about it. Anyway, next review.
So I have to say, I have to be less hatery than Nigel is, so I might as well go next. We might as well leave the worst for last.
Okay.
So I'll go next.
We're also getting told by Jared to get good with that top flipper action because
I can do it. It's just not as comfortable. Let's be clear.
Get man-sized hands.
Yeah.
It's not my knife, and I drop things when I top flipper like that.
So the theme of my review is make a larger one. And that goes hand in hand with the top flipper. If you made a larger version of,
you're not that far off.
The Sham has been my grail knife since I saw a Sham, I don't know, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I don't know. I fell in love with it. I think the first one I ever saw was Koa wood. I should have sent you some of the variations that are out there because Jesus Christ, they're nice. But I mean, the ShamWEri itself, the Wii knife, cost versus materials. I think Joe dabbled on it. A little bit steep for what you're getting. Rounded titanium. We talked about it. Whatever. Cutting ability. I think you guys like with the 8, the way it came compared to the way it could be. I think the hollow ground can totally be asked to make that thing crazy action. Paul dabbled on the lockup and the actuation. I'm a front flipper guy, even though I'm not a normal flipper guy.
Of course.
And so as soon as, again, I saw pictures of this knife, I was like, it's a Savenza that's nicer made and front flips instead of thumb studs, right? So
I'm waiting for the explosion in chat for that comment.
Well, it's not that I haven't been thinking about a Savenza. I've been carrying titanium frame locks all weekend long. So,
No, it's a known thing that people say, but I think something's gonna. Well, unsubscribe. There we go.
There it is. So on the personal side of things, materials and aesthetics, it's a Grail knife. It's the nice, simple drop point, rounded titanium, a broomstick for a handle, but that's the way I like them. And materials, titanium, 20 CV. Ergos, right hand only, you sons of bitches. You sons of bitches, this would have been a top 3 knife for me if you actually cared about some sort of blue anodized plate or over the top deep carry or something that probably wouldn't make it a ShamWEri anymore. Anyway, I gave the objective side of Ergos a 9, whereas the personal side I gave an 8. Big thing for me is make it a 3.5 inch. This thing is nice, but it's nice the way a mini Griptilian is nice compared to holding a full-size Griptilian. Like, you definitely get better ergos. Small Sebenza versus large Sebenza, same argument, right? Like, it's... No. So, enthusiasm, that's why it only gets an 8 too. It would be a 9 for sure. If this was a 3.5 version, god damn it, this would be a 10. And I'd be buying it off of Jared for whatever price he wanted to sell it for in the secondary market.
I was going to say... I'm glad that you kind of have passed on it, because I look at it and I'm having a hard time not asking Jared what he wants for it.
Well, I've already had that conversation. And if I'm going to spend silly amounts of money, I might as well make it a Sebenza. There you go, Fisk. Resubscribe.
He actually said in chat, Sebenzas are made in lefty config.
Stupid. I want a right-hand frame lock.
He's picky. He's a picky bastard, folks.
That's a whole can of worms you're trying to open up there.
Yeah, it's simple. You see here is a left-handed clip, but I still want a right-handed frame lock. And that's,
why did you just give it a 3 for pocket ergos just because it's a right-hand only clip?
That's what I give right-hand only clips. So that's what I gave the.
Let's keep in mind.
Yeah, that's. Then it's a standard. If it's a right hand, he gives us 3.
That's what I figured. But the only reason I bring that up is because had that been a 7, the 4-point difference, it would have been an A.
He's giving me a hard time about my score, and it would have been the same score.
Keep in mind, had this been his preferred configuration, so don't let his left-handed bias weigh too heavily.
Here's the thing, though. If I had been playing with a lefty one, they would have made it a left-handed frame lock, and then it would have scored lower in other categories for me personally, because I don't like left-handed frame locks.
Been dealing with right-handed frame locks the whole time. Lefty ones feel weird.
Yeah, they sure do.
I mean,
they sure do.
I get.
I like a right-handed frame lock, but I like a left-handed clip because I'm allowed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So anyway, 84 sons of bitches. I put it up there too. Nigel, how much hate you got for us?
For me, it scored pretty damn good.
An average amount of hate?
Yeah, it was an 80.
Okay.
I gave it a good solid B.
That's a minimal amount. That's a minimal amount of hate.
Look at that across the board. Look at that across the board.
Yeah. Legitimately across the board, I gave it 9s in the objective side. And Dennis
across the board, legitimately
this time.
Your board trickled even into the personal a little bit when it came to the 9s.
Yeah, like everyone else has touched on. It's clean. It's really well made. Slicey as hell. It's super smooth action. Yada yada yada.
Yada the ShamWEri.
That's
yeah. Well, it's more just yada yada yada, rehashing the points everyone else made.
Yeah.
Getting into the pocket ergos. For me, when something's right hand only, I give it a 5. It fits super comfy in the pocket. It hides away really, really nicely. So, yeah, but it's right hand only, so screw you. It gets a 5. The ergonomic preference, it's into that getting close to that really, really comfy 3-finger classy gentlemanly carry sort of grip for me. It's a little bit big for that, but not by much. And then for the enthusiasm, because of the right hand only aspect of it, it had to come down to a 6 just because it's fuck you guys.
What would it have been otherwise?
Well,
what was that, Paul?
What would it have been otherwise?
Probably an 8.
Okay,
fair enough.
For enthusiasm.
I was gonna say, Gareth on that same Knife News article had said that along with a 3.5. There was rumors of like maybe a left-handed variant coming out at some point. And again, it would probably be a left-handed frame lock, but at the same time, he didn't seem that interested in pursuing it, so I don't know whether it would even happen. I find it more likely they're going to do like the full size 3.5 inch at some point.
That is fair.
But
and I think I would I'm on the same sort of board as Dennis, is that the left-handed frame lock would feel weird and just be awkward. I prefer an ambidextrous version than a specific lefty version.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Give us our bread.
Yeah. I was going to say, there is more chance with him than anyone else to get a left-handed variant in this production model, specifically because not only does it seem to be mirroring Sebenza's a little bit, but his customs, there are a lot of left-handed Gareth Ball customs that are floating around, so it is distinctly possible.
Apparently Nigel is amphibious, according to chat.
Instead of ambidextrous?
Yes.
Did I say amphibious?
No.
Okay. He's just being nice.
I think Justin's just saying it, yeah.
Of course.
Nigel's a frog.
I think I would take an amphibious version of this. I think that would be okay.
What's that?
I think I would take an amphibious version of this knife. I think I'd be okay with that. Yeah.
I keep seeing all these pictures that Mr. Fisk is posting of his knives in fish aquariums. And I'm not going to do that with my ball bearing knives, but something that's amphibious.
Oh, it's fine. Yep. You just rinse it out with tap water and a hairdryer afterwards. It's fine.
What's the worst that could happen?
I don't want to think about the worst that could happen.
So, Mr. Spreadsheet Man Joe.
Yeah.
Spreadsheet Man Joe.
We should get this in there and figure out the average.
We should.
And then it'll go up on the board.
I really like that name.
Look at that broomstick for a handle. I gave that a 10 for aesthetics. Look at how
boring it is. It is boring, but you know what? For the size of knife, I'll say it. The mini Sebenza, the small, it feels gross in my hand to begin with, but compared to this feels 1,000 times better in hand.
Okay, I had one of our regular customers actually make a really good point that the small Sebenza feels much better with some sort of rounded onlay on top of it. He had the micarta version, and the micarta really did fill out the Sebenza quite a bit on the smaller version.
Okay.
Whereas on the larger, it means less to me personally, at least, for any sort of onlay, inlay, whatever type of thing. Although that Wilson Combat, that's a fancy one. It's a fancy version.
Sure is.
Beer. That's my contribution. You're welcome.
This crack top 3, boys? Low score was 80, which means in 87, 88, it's got third place. It's kicking the Benchmade Money Crooked River. And good riddance. It should kick that sumbitch out of there.
Yeah. Once again, Paul score 88.
We're getting asked in chat right now if we have any pictures of the backside of the ShamWEri.
Yes, I actually have one here.
He's busy doing the scores, so we'll get to that.
Yeah, I'm just going to set it up so you guys can talk about it while I'm figuring out the thingy. You know, the thingy.
Thingy. Oh, blue pivot over travel stop. Yeah. And the rounded titanium almost, as far as we were talking about price point, almost makes up for things. Like I was saying, I'm putting the Wee knife, the Pleroma, carbon fiber integral, still like sub 500 polar bear dollars, depending on where you get it, type of thing, right? But you look at this one for 100, 150 less, and you're like, that's a boat, right? So.
Yeah. Joe was saying in the shop today that he would have liked to see the over travel stop pivot collar mirrored on the face side of the knife as well. And I don't disagree with that, but I think a smaller ring on the one side to mirror the color on the backside would have been nice.
Yep.
Kind of
So
play off that.
Just
If you
something.
look-
Something.
if you look at the custom versions, he's got small ones on one side, dual one, big ones on. Like he goes all over the map when it comes to the pivots and the pivot collars.
Yeah.
He is not afraid to play. It's kind of cool where you see some with small pivot collar rings, you see some with none, you see some with like big on both sides, big on one side. Like it's So again, one of the things I love about it is even if you don't like that one in particular, if you're after a custom version of it or whatever, you can find one that you're like, okay, that one works for me instead, right? So
You can find one.
you drop, 2 G's of the polar bear dollars to get a custom, yeah.
Not even that, just finding them available.
That's kind of the
Mhm.
kicker, yeah. Whoo-wee. Wow. Okay, so I got the scoring done. Do you want to know how much it beat the Benchmade by?
hmm
3 points.
3 points? No, not quite. So, so the Benchmade Crooked River, the old third place holder, was at 84.75. The the 83.25. 84.75 was the ShamWEri.
Point and a
Cool.
half.
Yeah.
Half of the points.
Yeah. It just edged out a victory there.
So that means Benchmade comes off that board altogether now, eh?
Yeah. So yeah, Gareth Bull's small ShamWEri, 84.75. And like Paul hinted there, because this one's not a 2021 review, it's off the board.
Yeah,
There we go.
sure as
We
hell
have a new
is.
third place.
Okay, so here's the thing, boys, with this new changing of the guards. Benchmade has got one limited edition, which was the Pardue International exclusive, in the top 10 now, and that's the only Benchmade knife in the top 10 for us out of anything they've come out with.
Yeah. Well, as far as the spreadsheet, this one will still be number 4, but for the
Oh yeah.
yeah.
No, get rid of it, delete it. It's
Burn it. Never happened. I'll go back and erase that YouTube
That's
video.
right.
Just-
Delete that. It's an elimination.
Well, it says something too that the Benchmade Gold Class Crooked River only gets an 83.25 when it costs as much as it does.
It's
That's
so much.
why it got
And
that score.
Even on secondary, getting the ShamWEri for 500 is like, yeah, there's a difference. There's a difference.
That rustic jet's gonna be hard to beat, man. Jesus.
Dude, it's a
Yeah.
90.75 to get. Oh,
So reputations, you say? Reputations. So he did some sketchy stuff in the past. Supposedly, he hasn't done sketchy stuff recently, other than
we're
websites crashing.
we're talking about Gareth Bull's.
Sketchy? That
Sketchiness?
question came up in chat.
Okay, so let me quickly read that here.
You're gonna read that.
Okay, so yeah, I've come across, starting with a video from another YouTuber, Daddy-O EDC. This is a video that he uploaded something like 7 months ago from today's date. He went over his issues with Gareth Bull directly over a custom ShamWEri. Long story short, communication seems to be a questionable trait for him at best, which is unfortunate. Such to the point where Daddy-O EDC was getting ghosted after sending messages for weeks and seeing Gareth post things on Facebook, on Instagram, responding to comments. So it's not like he was just disappearing from social media for a length of time due to whatever reason. He was just specifically avoiding answering his questions. So, and ultimately what it came down to, he said he didn't want to keep his ShamWEris anymore because he was worried that if the same issue came up again, it was some sort of lock slip issue where if he pressed the spine of the blade, it would fold. That was fixed twice, and he's worried that like if it happens again, his words, not mine, I don't want to have to talk to Gareth Bull about it. So that's kind of a questionable.
I'm going to interrupt you real quickly and say sorry, boys. I'm trying to socially lubricate, and it's being too speedy in me, so I can't wait till break. I'll be back again.
Fair
I
enough.
say, look at this guy go again.
See you soon.
Always on the air, socially lubricating.
That's
you.
good. As the
You
kids,
shouldn't be doing that socially, just for the record.
as the kids say.
Not right now, anyways.
Anyway,
You hang out with different kids than I hang out with.
The kids say. I hear them say it, but I don't want to be anywhere near those kids, especially after hearing that. Anyway,
He's listening from the bushes.
Uh-oh. Paul, I don't like that. I don't like you giving away my secrets.
He always is.
Before Dennis got onto this topic about Gareth Bull and his reputation and stuff, we were asked in chat about the reputation and whether or not we're going to talk about it. And I said, nah. And the only reason I had said that originally was because the only thing that I know is things that I've heard through other people. I've never interacted with Gareth Bull myself. I don't know what he's like.
And
personally.
I haven't even watched the Daddy-O EDC video and seen the posts. I can't comment one way or another. What I can say is, if you have issues with this knife, do you contact We Knives or do you contact Gareth Bull?
Gareth Bull. So now here's the takeaway.
That's what I thought, but yeah.
Here's the takeaway. Many people have had a really good experience with Gareth Bull, have nothing but pleasant things to say about him and their experience with him, even after following up problems with their own knives. So it could just be a case-by-case basis. We're not getting the full story necessarily from Daddy-O. We don't see receipts in terms of like messages on his phone. We don't see any of that. So this is all hearsay. That being said, these are production knives produced by We, acting as an OEM for Gareth. So what that means is, if there's an issue with one of these parts wearing out or some sort of hiccup with quality control, chances are he's going to be able to either get parts made at or by We for them, or he has things like lock bar insert replacements, so he has things that he can easily fix.
A link to We Knives' warranty service or something, like who knows, right? So
I imagine,
and apparently it goes back further than that to the sketchiness. It's hearsay, it's stories, it's things from like a decade ago about him shortchanging people, not making knives, cashing in, never getting the money back, blah, blah, blah type of thing. But all I have to go off of is recent history that I've been turned on to Gareth Bull knives, and like you were saying, the large majority are just absolutely in love with the product, right? Like there's a reason that you don't see them for sale is because people are like, nope, this one's mine. Mine? So.
Yeah. So I guess the takeaway here is, if you do have the option to get a ShamWEri, maybe you feel a little bit more confident about if there is an issue down the road. I mean, I don't have any like video of me testing it, but I was pressing against the lock bar. Like, there's no shifting. The lockup is stupid solid.
I was just doing some light batoning with it.
I was halfway through the steel beam.
It's got a little bit of play in all 6 ways now.
6.
Rotational, I guess. It rotates on the pivot now. Jesus.
In and out.
It cuts like a gyrocopter.
Terrible. But as far as the knife that we got to play with, super awesome.
It was good. It was.
LNIB. Like new in box.
No,
Ish.
It didn't come with a box. The customs don't even come with a box. They're like manila enveloped, wrapped in saran wrap.
Are they really?
Yeah.
I've heard. Again, this is just grapevine type of stuff, right?
I saw a couple of reviews saying like, when I buy a We knife, I expect such and such packaging. The first thing that comes to mind is like, well, that's a We knife. This is a Gareth Bull knife made by We as an OEM. They're not going to give him all that extra stuff unless he pays for it. So I'm not terribly shocked. But also, does anyone really
tell with knives though? That's friggin' advanced knife bro shtick.
I guess. Okay, but packaging. Does anybody here actually give a shit about packaging aside from just like something that's decent to store the knife in? Does it really need to have like a zipper pouch case? Or
it depends, because the culture has now acknowledged resale value with original boxes sometimes, and depending on the brand, Benchmade, Spyderco, things like that, you can get a little more something premium if it's a like new in box, if you do have the original box to go with it.
And as like the design art school sort of geeky side of things, yes, most definitely. I always enjoy good packaging.
Giggity.
I was gonna say, if it's an interesting package or something like that, I
Good packages.
Yeah, like it's not necessarily that it's going to sway my decision, or I necessarily care if it's like a zippered pouch compared to a box.
But it's something you
But-
notice.
It's something that I noticed. I noticed the small details. Like I think it was the Hella knife. They came in the tubes and they had like a little hole cut in the bottom to release the suction of it. Like that little detail was just like, oh, that's brilliant. I love you guys for that.
Yeah.
Well,
gotta
if
say,
not,
I
it
like mailing
becomes a
tubes for that.
piston, and then you're starting fires. And maybe that can be a secondary thing because Hellas are bushcraft knives,
So
right?
Yeah.
pop the knife open, immediately burst into flames.
There goes the temper.
Yep.
Just in areas.
Oh, Mr. Fisk, if you don't carry your knife pouch and box, did you really even use your knife?
Oh, speaking of, I gotta love the guys who like actually do carry the black felt pouch around in the pocket
Yeah.
and will pull out the black felt pouch.
Are
Yeah,
you
you-
saying that I'm not supposed to walk around down the street just carrying my knife like this?
Only if it's like a tray that you're about to serve someone with.
Yeah.
I was going to say only if you're Vanna Whiting it the whole time. It's like,
Yeah.
da-da,
No, if you ban a white it, somebody will steal it
To
for
be
sure.
clear, I don't think
he lives.
Yeah.
He lives downtown. He's gonna
This
get
is
robbed.
true.
I don't-
Off Main Street, man. Like that's not the place to be doing that shit.
And I don't know if Dennis is trying to make fun of Jared necessarily, but I think he's referring to people who carry their knives to use, and they carry them in the pouches like that.
Yes.
I don't know
'Cause-
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. As much as like those pouches or whatever are nice occasionally, if you're gonna store the knife and put it away, they pile up pretty quickly when you are collecting higher end knives. It can be
Mhm.
kind of a pain in the butt.
When you're
The
collecting
store-
higher
the
end
store.
pouches.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, and it's how much do you use your knives? Do you use the knives often enough that the pouch is just in the way and annoying? Or do you,
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, because for me, I have like an area where I'll put my packaging for my knives, but I don't really care what necessarily happens to it. It's just there in case I want to, I don't know, transport it, gift it to somebody, sell it to somebody, if that ever comes up. Most of the time, it goes into like one of these little pouches here. Yeah, like one of these guys. Yeah, Nigel's got
Yeah.
one too.
Yeah.
And then I select what I want to carry for the day. I find that way more convenient.
I might have a couple.
Yeah.
I was gonna say even like the smaller pouches, the pouches you get with Civivi knives, and I think even Wii knives, where they have a pocket on the inside, so you can carry more than one knife in the pouch,
Mhm.
is a nice option as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
And as far as a cheaper way for, like not that a felt zipper pouch is going to be necessarily cheap compared to cardboard, but it's still pretty cheap in terms of things that'll protect the knife and feel fairly premium. So.
I love how this topic started because we were bitching about Gareth Ball wrapping his knife up with saran wrap and like
We're
manila
telling him all the
envelopes.
things he could do better.
And all of a sudden we've like rabbit holed down this is how I like to store my knives. In a pile right over here.
We've got 4 minutes until break. I'm just trying to pad things out until we can get there.
And I was about to jump on the fact that Top's Knife even still usually
Oh yeah.
sends their stuff out in bags and like just little plastic sealed bags. And even a couple of years ago, it was their big announcement at SHOT Shows that they're going to have boxes now.
It's like, come on, you didn't have enough of a markup on fucking $10.95 to give me a goddamn cardboard box with my
Okay.
$400 Screaming Eagle? Come on.
But the other thing is as far as the resale value goes, it's like a Boosie. Like they're like doesn't even have a sheath type
Yeah.
of thing. As far as the resale goes, a Tops knife, there's no Tops knife out there is like, hey, where's my collector's bag?
Yeah.
It's-
Because it
The
didn't
thing
come
is,
with
we
one,
all
damn it.
well, and that's the thing. Okay, so what I'm saying is like Tops now has some limited edition stuff, right? So maybe the fact that they are making some limited edition stuff and they only 100 made with S35 or with 154 or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
coffee bag micarta, maybe people want a box to go with those now too, right? So
No, they just put a little bit of gold speckling into the plastic as they mold the bag.
I don't like any of that. Paul, what were you going to say there?
I was going to say
pocket glitter.
You're going to say what?
We all laugh about the fact that, Topps puts their stuff in bags, or has in the past, but I don't think it would stop any one of us from buying a Topps knife for sure.
Oh, no, it's not going to stop me from buying something.
There's other things that'll stop you from buying Topps knives. Usually the Topps knives themselves, but that's...
How dare you,
Tempering by eye is not the right way to do it.
What, you don't want the devil's claw?
I kind of want the devil's claw. No.
Of all the Topps knives to pick, oh my god. We're going to have words on the break, let me tell you.
For how weird their designs tend to be, I can't remember more than like 2 names for their given designs. The Tom Brown Tracker and the Screaming Eagle. Those are the only 2 that I ever remember. And I don't know why that is.
The other one that jumped into my head was the Baghdad Killer.
The Baghdad Bullet.
Bullet, that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, brutal.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Fisk is making a point in chat saying that when he sells his knives on Instagram, one of the first questions he gets is, "Do you have the box?"
But that's because the culture pertains that. If the culture didn't give a crap, then who would give a crap about it?
It's also a good indicator as to whether your knife may or may not be a counterfeit as well. The boxes are usually a pretty good way to tell if they've been properly labeled and all that.
Yep. Add some weight to it.
It's always an indication of which knife I'm going to carry, or which boxes I'm going to keep, I should say. It's the ones that might be collectible and I might end up selling off. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Nigel.
Oh, no, I just said that little statement. That was it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just one sentence. Always good.
Anything else to refer to here?
People really like boxes. I'm not even going to...
Yeah, they do.
That's that one.
Well, sometimes I just like to sit in a box. And if there's a sunbeam going into that box at the same time, I'll spend all afternoon in there.
No one can deny a glowing box.
I mean...
A glowing box. I know it's not a box, but if you don't throw in the gif of the suitcase... Then,
yeah.
Okay.
I just had a joke about the sunbeam and it being golden hour, and that meaning 2 different things in this situation. So
let's go on break.
Indeed. So make sure you go and refill your drinks, empty out your bladders in the appropriate orders, and we shall return shortly with everyone. See you soon.
We don't need